there are very few MMA channels in YouTube or any platform that's going to give you a backdrop like this. And you're probably wondering, why am I using a backdrop like this in the morning after Sean Strickland upsetted the long-time 185 champion, or the two-time 185 champion Israel Adesanya, in such a shocking fashion, right? Well, for one, you look at this vast land right here, and I'm going to explain why I'm using this backdrop and how I'm going to explain what Sean Strickland did. For one, in order for you to get to something like this, okay, in this vast land of Northern California where there's plenty of places where you can build real estate, in order for you to get to that, with those houses that are fully built and fully furnished, to some degree, at least for a display. But nonetheless, to get to that, you gotta start from here, okay? And what exactly do we see in the background right here? Well, we see houses that are right now built from, you know, a wooden material of some sort. That's the foundation that they basically build before they start putting on the bricks, before they start putting on the fences, before they start putting on the pavements and things of that nature. So that's literally what Sean Strickland did last night in his performance against Israel Adesanya. He was building upon a foundation that he was laying out with the jabs. As he was doing that, there was a few low kicks. And then with that, there were a few 1-2s. And then with that, he tried to lure him into a counter shot while he's trying to use the Philly shell, but also moving forward on Izzy, while Izzy was using the complexity of his fighting style, not being able to match the simplicity of the foundation that which Sean Strickland was building upon. So once again, in order to get to that house right there that is fully built, you have to start from the lowest foundation. And even before that wooden material that I mentioned, before you start laying all the bricks into the houses, one of the things that you have to do is you have to lay a ground foundation. Now, again, I don't know a lot about engineering or construction or anything to that degree. That's not my expertise in any stretch of the imagination. But from what I understand in observing the nature around me and the real estate around me, that is literally one of the things that you have to take into consideration that Sean Strickland did in this fight. And what exactly is that? Well, one of the things that he did was control the real estate, in which Izzy was not able to do so in the way that he was backing up. He was able to move forward, move his foot forward to some sort of angle to where not only he was taking the center of the cage, but was also pushing Izzy back towards the cage. And this was where he was able to counter shot him and then make Izzy miss as they were exchanging in the boxing blows. That's literally what Sean Strickland did in order to win this fight. Now, what do I think about Sean Strickland implementing this with other fighters? Let's say maybe Khamzat Chimaev. How would he deal with this? Well, for one, he would probably have to deal with heavy amounts of wrestling, and to the point where he would engage on it straight away without even any hesitation towards trying to strike with Sean Strickland, but maybe even just to do it in a split second of time to open the shots, to open the takedown attempts, and to be able to implement his game in a grappling exchanges, which he will more than likely dominate against Sean Strickland. Because here's one thing that we learned about Sean Strickland in this fight. Aside from the fact that he knows how to build a foundation in his game while the fight is going on, and how to implement it as it's going live and it's within the immediate moment situation of that combat, right? He's able to adjust in those times. Not only adjust, but he's able to keep up a certain level of pace because of the economics that he has displayed, meaning that he doesn't overextend. He doesn't do the fancy stuff that I mentioned Izzy does. You see Izzy, he is perfect for a video game cover because of the style that he implements. He does spinning attack kicks, tornado kicks, spinning heel kicks, back kicks, On top of that, he does wheel kicks and cartwheel kicks if he's able to see an opening for something like that. This is the creativity of Izzy that can sometimes be detrimental to a very disciplined and a very technical person that has great cardio and that can implement it. Because guess what? What are some of the greatest foundations in mixed martial arts? I'm going to tell you the greatest foundation of all combat sports, which is none other than cardio. That is the best foundation to have, because if you have cardio, it's almost like your skills don't matter. And then in the end of the 5th round, one of the things that you had noticed within that time frame was Sean Strickland having a heavier output within the last 20 seconds of the fight, where he does the little Max Holloway, put my hands down and we're gonna bang this and that, keeping his hands down while he's walking up to Izzy, leg kicking him, not respecting the fact that Izzy could possibly knock him out with his hands down. Now, why is that? Well, because of the fact that he knew that the economic process that Izzy was fighting under was just not going to be sustainable for the later rounds, in contrast to Sean Strickland's disciplined economic output. But once again, it all lay down into the foundation of what Sean Strickland does. And you know what? How symbolic, right? Because in order to do a job like construction and things of that nature, right, it's a very blue-collar job. Very blue-collar. So this is the reason why a lot of blue-collar guys can relate to Sean Strickland. And obviously, it's not just the fighting style that somehow is relatable to the personality, but his personality in and of itself is relatable to many of these personalities that have this libertarian mindset that Sean Strickland has. A lot of people think that he's a Trump guy. Well, he's not. He even said it on the Nelk podcast that, well, I'm not a Trump guy because Trump is not a real conservative. And because he's not a real conservative, that means that he's not really for the things that he says that he wants or does in his private life. In other words, Sean Strickland's approach is libertarian because, yes, he shares some conservative views that coincide with that, but then he doesn't play along with this team game of, well, I'm a Trumpster, like, let's say, the likes of Jorge Masvidal and even worse, Colby Covington. He's his own man. He has his own beliefs, but he also has his interesting story of just learning along the way. And this is one of the things that is really a big part of his story. He learned along the way with the mistakes that he had experienced. You look at all the losses that he's had. Now he's world champion. That is a quintessential storyline of Sean Strickland's life and career in trying to analyze it in its purest form. So, once again, in order to win fights, yes, the fancy stuff works because we need people that think like that, right? The creative artists of the world, people that work in writing sectors of the industry, people that work in the video and camera and the artistry and the makeup aspect of the entertainment industry. All these people, the actors themselves, and everything within that scope of the entertainment industry, all these people are creative and are still needed in society. But sometimes you also forget that there are people out there who are struggling, working class folks that work 9 to 5 construction and labor jobs that are the unsung heroes of the society that we live in, no matter what society is, whether it's a Western society or an Islamic society or a Russian society. It is always the blue-collar people that are the backbone of those societies and the people that we often forget. And how appropriate to relate to the fact that this is how a lot of people viewed Sean Strickland. But nonetheless, he showed us that with a little bit of hard work and a little bit of perseverance and relentlessness, a lot of things can be accomplished. But he also proved another thing, that, you know what? We can all change. I know that sounds cheesy to say. It sounds like a Rocky movie where people say in the end, oh, if I can change, you all can change, and how Rocky wins over the Soviet crowd. Look, this is reality. There is no main character. And a lot of people do say that Izzy has this main character syndrome. Fair enough. But if that's the case, then what a great way to really tell a life lesson in its purest form of martial arts, meaning that it doesn't care about you being the main character of anything. What it cares about is what is the right thing to do at the right time and at the right moment, and especially in the highest level of competition in mixed martial arts. Like and subscribe. Inshallah, I will see you again with another video soon.